It's time for this week's matchup of the week. It's the only matchup this week because, well, I really could care less about the other ones. Well, the other two, yeah, but it's the only one that really, truly matters. It's Gobo, or Toast for the D-Bags, versus House of Pain. Gobo started off really strong this year. House of Pain started off pretty slow. They met in the middle, both 7-5, and playing for the playoffs. Their playoffs start week 13 instead of week 14. Winner goes on to be the second number 2 seed, and the loser probably goes home. ESPN has it actually pretty close. They have Gobo at 130 points this week, and House of Pain, at 116 points this week. We all know ESPN, their scores aren't always quite right. We'll see what goes on. I'm sure they didn't predict Chris Johnson getting 0 points last week either, but we'll kind of go in depth here, and we'll see who will actually make it out of this matchup alive and into the playoffs. We're going to go down the lineup, see what's going on. At quarterback, Joe Flacco versus Drew Brees. Flacco for Pain, Brees for D-Bags, of course. ESPN has it at 15 points for Flacco, 19 points for Brees. How surprising, they have it right around their average. With Flacco going against Pittsburgh defense, I think it's rather generous giving him 15 points. In fact, I see him only getting maybe 1 touchdown through the air. So I'm actually going to say about only 11 to 12 points for Joe Flacco this year. I think there's some free agent quarterbacks out there at the moment that I would rather have than Joe Flacco against Pittsburgh in a game that or a matchup you must win. But on the other side, Gobo, Brees going against the Cincinnati defense. You gotta like that. I'm actually gonna go a little bit higher than what ESPN is saying. I'm gonna say about 24 points for Drew Brees against the Cincinnati defense. Running backs: Mendenhall, Foster, and then flex spot Malcolm Floyd for House of Pain. ESPN has them at 14, 19, and 16 points respectively. That would be a total of 49 points among the three of them. I actually think that's pretty right on collectively, even though I don't think the things match up here. Foster against Philadelphia defense, I think is going to go over 20. Mendenhall against Baltimore, I think he's going to be under 15. Malcolm Floyd against Oakland, I think he's going to be right around 12 to 15 with at least 1 score on that. Yeah. So, D-Bags, he's got his 3 running backs, CJ, MJD, and LaShawn McCoy. ESPN has it at 17, 21, 18, which would give the edge again to D-Bags. But CJ going against Jacksonville defense. Jacksonville's defense has been playing a lot better as of late. I see Chris Johnson actually only getting about 14 points, and that's if he gets a score. I could definitely see him in the single digits again this week, mainly because they have no quarterback, so they're stacking 8-9 in the box, and he just has nowhere to go. Maurice Jones-Drew going against Tennessee. It's that matchup against each other again. I don't see a lot of points out of him either. I see only about 12 points out of Maurice Jones-Drew. McCoy against Houston, I do like. I see about 18, 19 points for LaShawn McCoy. That's if Vic doesn't steal all those touchdowns running the ball. But I think McCoy's going to get his touches, going to get his scores. Give McCoy about 18, 19 points this week. Receivers. On the D-bag side, of course, we got Roddy White and his ill-gotten Brandon Lloyd. ESPN has it at 20 for Roddy and 17 for Lloyd. See both of them. I'm not seeing 20 for Roddy this week. Not against Tampa Bay defense. I actually see about like 12 for Roddy White. You're not going to keep him down. He's going to get his points, but I see only 12 for him this week. Brandon Lloyd against KC defense. Again, another good defense. I see only about 10 to 12 for him. On the other side, House of Pain, Greg Jennings going against San Francisco. You got to like how their offenses come alive. 21 points, a little far-fetched. I'm thinking about 16 for Jennings. Deshaun Jackson. Now this, against the Houston defense, I say Deshaun Jackson gets over that over that 20 mark. I say he gets about 24 points for Deshaun Jackson against Houston. Tight ends, Tony Gonzalez for House of Pain, Brandon Pettigrew for Chicago, because Antonio Gates is still questionable. Who knows who's going to go for? If Antonio's going to go, then I'm sure Gobo will keep a close eye on that and put him in. Unfortunately for him, Pettigrew does go before Gates this week, so he might not know Gates' status by the time he needs to. So I say Pettigrew against the Chicago defense. I say only gets about 4 points. Tony Gonzalez against Baltimore or Tampa Bay defense. I think he's going to get one score, not a lot of yards. Give me 8 points for Tony Gonzalez. Defenses, Eagles defense against Houston. I'm not crazy about Houston. Still puts up a lot of points. Steelers defense against Baltimore. Feel a lot better about. Say they're going to get around that 8-point range. Eagles, I think, get around that 3-point range. Kicker is Vinatieri for Indianapolis against Dallas. About 7 points for Vinatieri this week. And Garrett Hartley against Cincinnati. I don't like any of the New Orleans kickers. They don't seem very good, but they get a lot of chances. So do give me 8 points for Garrett Hartley. All in all, fantasy dud for this week is going to be Maurice Jones-Drew. Give me the lowest points out of the two teams. And then for fantasy stud, I'm going to have to give it to Deshaun Jackson, going above and beyond against that weak Houston defense. Overall, the team that wins and moves on to the playoffs as the number 2 seed is going to be House of Pain. Upsetting team Toast to the D-Bags by 13 points. D-Bags, you better be rooting against Centurions and Dershval, because you're not, I repeat, not beating House of Pain in week 13. A very unlucky number for you. We'll see you next year, Gobo.